Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel for my last video of 2019. We have had a magnificent year of great films, but we also had some really forgettable ones as well. Yes, it has come to that time of year again where I rank my top 10 movies of 2019. I have not seen every single movie of 2019, so there may be some real winners that I just haven't gotten around to watching yet, or maybe they just didn't make the top 10 list. Unlike last year's video, I'm not going to get in too deep with the reviews of these films, because I'll say what it is, talk about it for a little, then move on to the next in the list. If you want proper in-depth reviews of some of these movies, look through my channels, you're bound to find most of them, given I haven't reviewed them all. Alright, enough of this boring intro, so here's my top 10 movies of 2019, starting with number 10. Starting off with number 10 is bound to be a real surprise to many people. I didn't give it an amazing score when I reviewed it, but upon rewatches I've come to really love it, and that is Shazam. Recently audiences have been smashed with a lot of superhero movies, but I feel like Shazam really stands out among most others. I really love this movie because it has a strong theme of family as the constant base of the film. DC really knew how to balance out the comedy and emotional value with its characters, which made it more refreshing than, say, Guardians of the Galaxy. This is actually one of the better comedies of the year, being more comedic than most. This film is a lot of fun and really blends a great strong story of the importance of the unification of family with comedy that really ended up having a lasting impact on me. Number 9. Quentin Tarantino delivers another winner with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The first thing you'd expect from a Tarantino film is the excessive over-the-top violence. However, this movie barely has any, but the use of creative storytelling and strong dialogue makes up for it. Tarantino really gave both DiCaprio and Pitt the perfect opportunity to demonstrate how good they are at acting. Even though Margot Robbie was barely on screen, she performed brilliantly as well as the mains two. Along with the brilliant performances and terrific plots, some great catchy hits from the late 60s was a real treat for this new Tarantino flick, giving a real authentic and interesting perception of 1969 Los Angeles. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood might end up being another controversial placing in this list. Who knows? Number 8. Midsommar. This is one messed up, disturbing film because the pure horror of the events unfolding is so unbelievably graphic. This is a terrifying movie, mainly because of Florence Pugh. She smashed this role, getting in touch with some severely dark emotions, conveying a range of deep emotions without even a single tear streaming down her face. The vibe of this movie is hard to get rid of because it has such a dampening impact on the audience. Midsommar is one of those horrors in which you want to look away but have that sick feeling that you don't want to look away. The horror of Midsommar was so substantially present throughout the whole film, even when nothing major or violent was happening, because it was so mentally horrifying that you felt ill progressing through it. I can't say I enjoyed Midsommar, but it's definitely one that I'm wanting to watch again. Number 7. This film might really divide people, but given that I've seen it 3 times already in the cinema and I'm not sick of it yet, Star Wars Episode 9 The Rise of Skywalker is in my top 10 movies of the year. I felt like this entry into the Skywalker saga delivered the most enjoyable film in the franchise because it delivered a very satisfying end to the controversial sequel trilogy. It produced quite a frequent amount of action and a great consistency of quality throughout. Many critics really hate on The Rise of Skywalker, but I have to say that it gave fans everything they could have wanted as a homage to the original trilogy. The thing I loved most about this movie is the return of the evil Kylo Ren character, because in The Last Jedi I didn't feel like him, but in this one he quickly became my favourite Star Wars character again. In my opinion, I really love Star Wars Episode 9 The Rise of Skywalker, and I think it's one of the best of 2019. Number 6. Jumping back into the superhero genre again, this space in the list goes to Avengers Endgame. I got everything I wanted with the conclusion of the last 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. I saw all of my favourite characters team up, I got a whole lot of comedy, I got fitting ends to some of the most iconic characters, and I really felt a constant joy throughout this 3-hour ride. As with The Rise of Skywalker, this was made for fans, and being a massive Marvel fan myself, Avengers Endgame delivered everything a fan could want. Avengers Endgame is a film that is sure to be high up on many people's top 10 lists, but the reason this one isn't higher is because at times it's a little overrated, because the controversy between the performance of Robert Downey Jr. in this and Joaquin Phoenix and Joker is getting pretty ridiculous, as Iron Man wasn't a standout performance of the year. It was just average, but nevertheless, Marvel gave the world the conclusion to the MCU we all wanted with Avengers Endgame. Number 5. This one may be a little expected, but I'm giving this spot to The Irishman. Martin Scorsese really did well with another gangster genre film lasting 3 hours and 30 minutes, going at a smooth pace. The story is long and sophisticated, but it's produced at a pace that doesn't feel rushed, but doesn't feel too slow either. The performances from all 3 leads and Robert De Niro, Al Pacino and Joe Pesci were all astounding. Scorsese has given audiences once again another gangster vibe movie, taking us back to the feeling of watching Goodfellas or Casino. It wasn't as good as those two movies, but it's still a film that is of impressive quality. The dialogue fills in majority of this movie, and because it's so strong, the building excitement of having a little violence spread throughout adds a spark to this gangster drama that it needs. The Irishman is very strong in its area of cast and story, that it proves to be one of Martin Scorsese's most brilliant works in years, and one of my top films of the year. Number 4. The top 4 movies in this list are 4 films I constantly move around, as they are all masterpieces that are hard to choose, but at number 4 I've placed Knives Out film. Number 3. Marriage Story is one of the most amazing movies of this year, being the most emotionally riveting yet upsetting films in recent memory. Marriage Story is packed with outstanding performances from both Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. I really think that this movie might end up becoming severely underrated due to the amount of blockbusters released this year. The saddest aspect to this movie is that it feels so raw and real. It holds a heavy impact on its viewer that really elicits an unnerving mystery to how everything evolves throughout. The best thing about this movie is that you want the outcome of the story to be good, but once you start feeling that way, another bombshell is dropped and both of the characters start to slowly claw at each other again. I really love Marriage Story more than most movies of all time, so I'm really anticipating my next viewing of this. Number 2. These next 2 films swap positions every time I rewatch one of them. If you know me quite well, this film might surprise you by being placed here, but number 2 goes to Rocketman. Rocketman is probably the movie I've watched the most this year, because I can't help but just enjoy the combination of Elton John's astounding music, the insane costumes, and the terrific performance from Taron Egerton. I really have come to root for Taron Egerton to win the Best Actor Oscar, but unfortunately when I saw Joker, I knew that wasn't going to happen any longer. However, Rocketman is an uncensored adaptation of Elton's life, and unlike Bohemian Rhapsody last year, transformed this biopic into a musical along to the beats of Elton's classics, which was a major surprise that ended up being an amazing payoff. I've seen Rocketman more than any other film in the cinema, seeing it a total of 5 times, every time being a new experience by uncovering something shocking about Elton, or maybe just enjoying the fun the film captures. I love Rocketman with everything that it is, and it's really tough that I couldn't put it at number 1, because it really is that inspiring. Before I reveal my number 1 pick of the year, I want to highlight 5 phenomenal movies that rattle my brain as to whether I should put them in my top 10, so here are 5 more films that you should most definitely check out if you get a chance. Toy Story 4, Ford v Ferrari, Fighting with My Family, Good Boys, and Ready or Not. Now to unveil my favourite movie of 2019. This should serve as no surprise to anybody because my favourite film of 2019 goes to Joker. Joker is not the typical superhero film because it's dark, disturbing, violent, and gripping. Joker feels like a real piece of cinema. It's a slow-paced movie that never loses its grip, creating a slow burn for the unravelling of the story towards the end, in which the character we know to be the Joker fully gives into madness. Joaquin Phoenix fully embodies a real-life persona of the Joker in a downtrodden society. The most interesting take on Joker is how you feel sympathy for this depressed failure of a man. Being a major fan of the Joker character for years and years, and knowing what he does to characters like Robin and Batgirl, I can't believe that I actually felt sympathy for this character. DC really captured the emotional aspect of the awfulness that is mental health. However, as the film progresses, you start to realise that something just isn't right with the character of Arthur Fleck, and your sympathy for him decreases slowly, which is why Joaquin Phoenix's performance is flawless. Even if you hate Joker, the one thing you will still give credit to is Phoenix's performance. He is that amazing, giving the audience the portrayal of the Joker to define a generation. This film is a cinematic masterpiece. Joker is the film of the year. 2019 has been a terrific year of movies, and I hope you have enjoyed your year as much as I have. If you have a list of your own top 10 movies of 2019, leave your list in the comments. If you haven't got a list, also feel free to leave a list of some movies that you liked. If you have some other films that didn't make it onto my list, start a conversation with me in the comment section, as I love hearing from anybody. Thank you so much for all of your support this year. It's been really awesome to receive such overwhelming support with this channel, and you can definitely be sure that I'll be back in 2020 with more reviews. Be sure to check out my top 10 worst movies of 2019 video as well, which will be coming out very soon. This has been Kiers Reviews, signing off for now.